Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time for joining us for another Google Talks. Today, we have a very wonderful, wonderful guest. His name is Jay Pharoah. You may have heard of him, but let me run down some of his accolades here for you. He is a former SNL veteran. He has had a wonderful show on Showtime called White Famous. He had a stand-up that was done on Showtime. He most recently co-starred in Unsane, Sing, Ride Along, and Lola Versus. And just to talk a little bit about what he's got going on, he just wrapped production on a film called All My Life and will next be seen in Justin Simeon's Bad Hair. And today, we're going to talk about his current film, 2 Minutes of Fame.
What's up with y'all, baby? It's Deandre McDonald.
Who is Deandre McDonald?
Deandre McDonald.
What up?
I don't care about them wannabe comedians. I'm the real thing.
He does a good impression of you, though.
How can I make the most amount of money while selling out the most amount of people?
So you think I should have him killed?
Dre, I work hard and I hold us down, but you do whatever you want.
I'ma talk like Kevin Hart. Tell you why.
Just because you're more handsome man than I am. I'm not doing whatever I want. I'm following my dreams.
You have a family. At a certain point, following your dreams is irresponsible.
Dre, you got into the Laugh Out Loud showcase. We going to LA, man, all expenses paid.
Maybe the time spent there chasing your dreams is better off spent here, chasing a paycheck.
Eddie Murphy being dope-ass GPS. Your ass supposed to go south, your ass went north. If you would have listened, you would have been in the right place. But now, you stuck. Oh, my. So you checked out my set.
I peeped it. You weren't bad.
Every second is elevated. Heartbeat of it accelerated.
Dre, you don't even know this girl, man. She could be a temptress.
Buzzing with the centerpiece. Get a grip. I'm tripping off her energy. Self-empower, balance, and symmetry.
No. I ain't gotta worry about this. Ha! Big dog. Earth? Earth. You know what? I'm just gonna call her.
You convinced everybody around you to believe in you, and you don't believe in yourself. Don't be late for your little showcase, Playboy.
You're the reason it will last forever. You're the star staring back up in the mirror. Cause it's special when you stand out from the rest. When you know that you're the reason it will last forever. You're the star staring back up in the mirror. When you know that
Let's go.
you're the best.
You are pushing it now. Okay?
I'm pushing it. You know what's pushing? Your hairline. That's 1, 2, way back.
Oh.
How are you?
Hello. I'm all right. How about yourself?
I feel good. It's nice to meet you.
Oh, it's nice to meet you too virtually. This is how most Tinder dates are gonna start going, right?
Pretty much. I mean, we can certainly hug this way. You know, this is good. Yes.
All right, I hugged you. I'm just letting you know. They tell me I have the best hugs. I've heard that. You know.
Oh, okay.
They're really warm.
I'll take your word for it. So I'm so happy that I got to watch this film. You know, in a place right now where we just need comedians, we need that laughter, we need that consciousness, right? And I was just looking through, you know, your Instagram profile, and I'm just like, first of all, this guy's funny. I've been following you for a long time, not on Instagram, but in real life in my mind.
Yeah.
So via your Instagram, I wanted to talk a little bit about how do you want to use your platform right now, considering the current like explosion of interest in like racial equity and oppression and systemic problems. Like, what do you want to do with your platform at this point?
Well, you know, if you do follow me on social media, I did put a video out there a couple of weeks ago about my experience with being wrongfully detained by the cops, held at gunpoint, officers on top of me, knees on my neck. Like I'm a survivor of that, you know? And I think it's important to let people know while you're here a survivor's story and bridge the gap and let people know that being Black in America is exactly what it is. Being Black in America, it doesn't discriminate. And if you're an innocent person, you can get innocent Black person, you can get messed with. Like I was exercising, you know, you know how Corona is running rampant, and you know, the gyms have been shut down because, you know, we can't congregate like we used to.
You gotta get creative.
Right. So I downloaded this thing called the Run Tracker app, and you know, I was on a system building up. I think I picked 10K. I was gonna, you know, it builds up your stamina and your endurance so you can run a 10K. And you know, I was an avid user, you know, for weeks, you know, conditioning. So I was really flabbergasted when it happened to me while I was running down Ventura, and then walking down Ventura, crossing Ventura and Corbin, and I see an officer to the left of me, and you know, I got my Bose headphones on, you know, it's loud, you know, but I happen to see this officer aiming his gun, and like I'm a law-abiding citizen, so I'm thinking in my head, oh man, somebody must have done something wrong. Right. Like somebody about to get it. You know, let me get my cell phone so I can record. You know? Right. No, but he wasn't going for anybody else. He was coming for me, which I was totally incredulous about. So now he's got his gun out at me. My hands are up, and I see these other three officers come. They come drive up. There's another officer in the front. These three officers right here, they got their guns out. This other one got his gun out, and the dude gets on top of me, puts his knee on me, and then they're putting me in cuffs. And I'm like, yo, what is going on? I'm so flabbergasted, and I'm confused. I don't know what's happening. And at that time, my Run Tracker app, because I was on a break, I was walking. Right. My Run Tracker app, while the cops are on me, it goes, start running. I said, I can't. Okay. I cannot. Listen, I'm a comedian, okay? What I have to do, it's pain. It's joy through pain, not even joy through pain, but comedy through pain. That's where it comes from. Like, this is a painful experience for me. So I would be remiss if I, as an artist and a Black man, don't use my voice to talk about it. You know, I have to craft a bit. I have to take it to litigations with them. You know, I have to do that. But more importantly, I have to talk about it as a Black man who's living in America, who actually was spared from the situation, because it does not always end up like that. Like, a lot of us end up just being martyrs, or end up being on T-shirts and plaques and murals. And it's just, you know, I'm not that, and I'm happy. I'm happy that I can be a living mouthpiece to bring some insight and maybe incite some change, you know? Yeah. Maybe now that they're seeing that, hey, man, everybody is getting messed. Yo, we need to change this because it's ridiculous. I should not feel like my life will be forfeited if I'm just doing regular human activities, like going to the store, going to the gas station, I'm hanging out with my friends and other neighbors. I should not feel like my life is not gonna be I could get killed. That's just wrong. And you know, often we are made out to be, you know how they've done over the years. It is a mind thing. They have put fear in all of these people's minds about Black folks. Oh, they're dangerous and everything. There are dangerous people in every race. Dangerous people are what they are. They're dangerous people. Innocent
dangerous people are in church right now. So.
Listening, just sitting there like this. I'm gonna take all y'all out one day. Like,
put money in the plate and everything. Yeah.
Right. Sure. Right. So I feel like we shouldn't feel as Black people that we're guilty until proven innocent. We should be innocent until proven guilty. And if we innocent, there's no guilt to find. You know? So
I love that statement. It's truth of truth, right? when I thought about and saw the video, this happened in April.
Yes, it did. April 26th. I have the I have not used that Run Tracker app since that day. You can literally see the time. I have everything. I'm like, it's all evidence. I gotta keep it. And I got my Samsung Health now. That's what I've been using. And I'm back to my normal weight. I don't have no corona breasts, so I'm good.
That's good.
But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to break it up, break up the severity and seriousness of the situation because
that's perfectly fine. We are here to have a conversation. I'm with it. I wanted to know, like, because this was so recent, right? Even though we know the foundation of racism has still been here no matter what, it's been here for centuries.
Right.
But specifically to you for this event, what did you learn about yourself, right? In that moment, what became very clear to you in that moment that may have not been clear to you before the incident occurred? That
no matter my status, no matter what's going on, I'm a Black man in America and I am not exempt. It is what it is. And that's what's got to change. And at that moment, I didn't feel like a criminal because I wasn't a criminal. I felt like I was being made to look like a criminal, which is emotionally scarring and jarring at the same time. I mean, and I also thought in that moment, I'm not running down the street no more. I'm gonna stay my Black self inside the neighborhoods where I can duck and jump over a fence if I have to. You know what I mean? Get away. And I don't want to break away from your question. But if I can give some perspective so people can understand, I got my Bose headphones on at this time, right? Mm-hmm. The Run Tracker app was telling me to walk. I was walking when the police officers came up with their guns. Had I been running with those Bose noise canceling headphones on, and the officer would have had his gun out, and I would have kept going because I wouldn't have heard him, they would have shot me.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a powerful statement and a powerful reality. Like, this is not something to be fooled with. Right.
Yeah. Right. And what would the headlines have said? The headlines would have said he was resisting arrest.
Yes.
Wasn't. Yeah. Can't even speak for myself. And then you got all of America. You know how folks have felt like they feel so emboldened now with the way that they're just putting it in your face, the way that the racism is just shoved in our face now. You can see that through the deaths of constant young Black people getting hung right now. There are people getting hung. There are people getting shot. It feels like to some degree we're getting hunted.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. I didn't understand back when I was watching Get Out. I didn't understand that deer reference. Didn't get it. Totally went over my head. Didn't understand it when I saw it in the movie The Intruder. Didn't get it. Totally went over my head. Understand it now. I understand it now. So to bring it all back to your question, I knew at that moment I was a deer. I was like, I'm a deer. I'm a deer. I get it. Deers are unassuming. Deers are doing their own thing. They just eating grass. They're not carnivores. They don't got sharp teeth. They don't walk around. They don't look like that. So they're just in their own thing. And somebody comes up with a gun, pow, takes them out, puts the head on the mantle. And sometimes they don't even eat the body. It's game. It's sport. It's for sport. And it needs to stop. It needs to stop. This has been going on for far too long. And I think with the corona pandemic happening all over the globe, people have finally got a chance to sit down and pay attention to what has been going on, the injustices that we have been talking about for years. We should not be fighting for civil rights in 2020. We should have had those established. But it's back to that. Life. My life is valuable. It's valuable, but it's priceless. It's valuable. You get what I'm saying?
I hear you. I hear you.
What I mean? I do. It's gone on for far too long. Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, just to name the few. What is the young boy's name that was hung out here in California? Because there's been a couple.
There's been a couple. The thing about having all of the names running through your mind on a consistent basis is that at some point you start to run out of memory because it's one too many, right? And the stories about the hanging, I think, is I don't even have a word for it at this point. Just because when the story came across my television, I just thought to myself, well, I don't know what else we can say. Like, what else can be said that we haven't already been saying this entire time? And even with the point that you brought up about COVID, right? COVID-19 has single-handedly made a point of putting us in our seats at home, right? Yes. And I think that with COVID-19, we've had a lot of space to think about things. Can you tell us like 2 to 3 things that have come to your surface after like being at home, right, for such a long period of time?
I don't want to make a joke here, so I want to keep it simple. because if I did make a joke, I'd be like, I can barbecue the hell out of some food. I'll tell you that right now. I can barbecue. I got more of my dad's what is it called? Maintenance man qualities inside of me. I didn't know I had them. I've been fixing chairs. I've been fixing dishwashers. I've been putting lights up. I've been wiring things. I'm like, who am I? I'm a freaking comedian. I ain't supposed to do this. This is what I was trying to stay away from, but I'm doing it because I got my house. Something else and a more serious thing. What I have noticed, sitting down, what COVID has allowed me to notice is that we as Black people are not alone in this fight and injustice. We're not. It is a ubiquitous uproar. It's people all over the globe are just tired because it's not right. Wrong is wrong. They say wrong is wrong and right is right. It doesn't matter whether you're Black or white, whatever, that wrong is wrong. And people will not sit down and stand for it no more. 2020, through this COVID thing, it has made me realize that 2020 has lived up to its name. It's literally woken everybody up and people can see what's really happening with clear vision. Clear vision. Yeah. So
kind of staying on this for just a second, but with this movie, for example, how long ago did the movie come to your attention?
This was back, this was late 2017. I had just finished White Famous, and I knew about it before I finished White Famous. I knew there was a script. Devon Shepard had worked on this script, and he had me in mind for it. He told me. A brilliant writer. He's done worked on Mad TV. Definitely worked with me on some of my hosting gigs, the AMAs, the NBA Players Awards. I love Devon is a good dude. So he wrote the script with me in mind, playing this internet comedian. And while I was taping White Famous, it came to my attention, and I was like, man. I was like, Devon, I want to work with you. And then with the cast members that I heard that they were going to have in it, like Katt Williams, and I was like, ooh, but like he's one of my idols. So I'm like, I gotta work with Katt Williams, boo-boo. You have got to work with Katt Williams. You cannot sit around and allow that opportunity to turn itself into dust, because if you miss it, you ain't never gonna have it again. Understand? That's what it is. Pimpin'. So, and then it was really attractive when they told me, they were like, "Yo, you the star. You're number one on this movie. Like this is the first movie where I'm number one on. I've definitely co-starred in other films, Unsane, like you're saying, Sing." Even All My Life that's coming out, you know what I mean? It's collaborative, but it's collaborative, but I was number one on the list, and it was centered around me. And to be able to push yourself as an actor, to be able to control a whole movie, that says a lot, It's not easy. Like people are boring. Like you'll get bored seeing some people on screen for more than 10 minutes or whatever. But I took this as an opportunity to kind of show my chops and be able to be like, yo, I can carry a film. And it was with the LOL network, which was Kevin Hart's new thing. It was popping. It was supposed to be before COVID and all this stuff happened. It was going to be a good theatrical release. A while ago, even before, a whole bunch of stuff has happened, Lionsgate, all of that, but it was supposed to be their first theatrical movie. And with the way Kevin has been putting young comedians up to putting them in the positions to win, I couldn't say no, man. It was a real attractive deal, and the cast seemed like it was amazing, and I just wanted to be able to work with folks. So
when I think about you, I think about your journey. I don't know every single thing about you, but from what I can tell you,
I could tell you.
I hope we have an extra hour.
I'm gonna sit on the couch. I'm gonna sit on the couch like this. So yeah, it started. I was 6 years old. Then I started gaining weight. I got a butt.
A little ginger tea.
But I had hips, and they. I used to get catcalled by the dudes when I used to bend over to pick up my pencils, and I'd get up and I'd be like, hey, and they'd be like, hey man, my bad, but look at you. It was a very painful childhood. Anyway, we could be here for hours.
So thinking about like your story, I find it I'm always so attracted to that story around being so in tune with what your goals and your dreams are. And you seem just like you were so intent, right, to be into comedy. But impressions, I'm so fascinated by impressions. And I imagine everyone that's viewing this and will view this is fascinated by it as well. So what is that thing? Like how did you know you first had that talent, first and foremost? And what did you do to kind of cultivate it as you grew as a comedian and also as a person?
I was told at 6 years old that I was good at it. And, I used to impersonate Disney characters. And, I grew. I grew from there. It just took one person telling me that, hey, you got a knack for this at 6 years old. Yeah. All right, cool. It was just something. It was something fun for me because I watched television so much because both of my parents were working. You know what I'm saying? And both of them had government jobs. They were working. So, the television was my babysitter most of the my sister would babysit me too. But turn the television on. She over there talking to boys or something. She ain't worried about me. You know what I'm saying? People getting, sneaking people in the house. You know how y'all do it. You sitting there trying to pay you, give you $5 so you shut up, I'll be like, I'm gonna need 20. I'm gonna need 20 because I can't just
No, my thing was I would just, I would call my dad on the phone and say, listen, my brothers are not listening. What are you going to do about it? And then I put his voice out there so they could hear it because there was no mobile phone at that time. Yeah. So I understand the life. I do.
but to go back to your question, like after that, I started growing just more and paying attention, even like teachers and things. Like I was that kid, like everything I could observe and try to imitate, I would do. And, it ended up getting really strong after I was in theater. I was a theater kid, 8 years old. I was already in school plays. And by the time I was 11, 12, I was in community theater and high school plays, all that stuff. The Norfolk State University, like when I was 12, I did a monologue. I wrote this monologue called Billy, and I performed it. We all had monologues we're supposed to do as far as the part of the NYSP program, which is what is, I don't know what that stands for. Don't ask me. Okay, I never asked because I was always on the defense. Like I might have to fight somebody over here because this is wild and reckless. It's like the Boys and Girls Club, but ghetto. It's crazy. Okay, so it was a crazy program at the time.
Right.
So I did this monologue. I was 12. I got up there, did it, and I remember Ellie. I'll never forget. I don't know her last name, but her name was Ellie. She went to Norfolk State University. when I was 12 years old, and she told me, she was like, yo, she will always push me. Like, I thought she was being mean to me. Like, I was like, yo, why is Ellie always on my back? Like, yo, what is it? She pulled me to the side one day because I think she had reprimanded me in front of everybody. And I really didn't like that, you know, as a kid. You know, if you're embarrassed, you know, you're just trying to make friends, you're trying to connect. And she pulled me to the side and she said, I don't care how you feel about me. She said, honey, you're good. And I see that. And I just want you to be great. You are good, but you are going to be great. She said that. I was 12 years old. I was like, man, I said, shoot, I might try to holler at you in 7 years now. Shoot, what up with you? What up, though? You know? So that I think, and now like clocking it back, that kind of gave me even more of a tick to even go harder. And then I got into stand up when I was 16, and you know, I was already doing the voices and everything, but you know, my pop and everybody in my family, they were like, nobody does it like you. It's different. And I'm like, okay, I'm just having fun. But from that moment, when he said nobody does it like you again, turned it up again and just expanded my repertoire. And I don't know, somehow started making YouTube videos. And, I was on the road, of course, too. I went on the road with Charlie Murphy when I was 19 years old. For 3 years. Rest in peace to Charlie. And the Murphy family is pretty much like my fam, you know.
Right.
I mean, it don't, you know, I look kind of like him too, so it's easy.
Like a cousin. Okay.
It's like it's really easy for me to go to show up and be like, hey, I'm one of y'all. They be like, all right, cool. All right, hey, you got the chicken. There's a chicken over there. You want a piece of chicken or something like that? Because you look like one of us, you know. So you know, going on the road with Charlie for those few years, and then getting SNL, I was already just sharpening. But I'm all about never feeling like you master a character, and I think that's the key to it. Always trying to find new ticks about somebody, always studying, constantly looking at the tapes, watching interviews, trying to pick out specific things that they do. And you know, now being 32 years old, I feel like I'm getting to a level that some folks can't touch. So and you know, as far as impressions go, you know, I'm always feel like I can grow as an artist or whatever. You know, shoot, my stand-ups, everything from 2016 on is great, but you look at them earlier years, oh boy, you know, I wasn't comfortable in my skin yet. I was a sheltered kid, and I really didn't have a lot of life experiences where you jump to now, where I've gone through so much, so I talk about so much, and that's just the different. You know, everybody has their different times that they mature, and and I can honestly say, living now, I got a house, I got a deed, my name is on the deed. You know what I mean? I have people that work under me, like on some boss stuff. So I know, and my sister is my manager, by the way. I don't know.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, thinking about this and still kind of staying on this track here, for all of the young people that are going to be watching this, who I hope end up watching this, and for all of those kids that experience that word of, oh, you're a weird kid, or oh, you're a nerd, or you're this, that, and the other,
you're not supposed to. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, but go ahead, finish, because I'm about to go ahead.
So for kids that have to kind of put up with that on a daily basis from other kids, or just people who are not in tune with what this kid, what their dreams look like, what their creativity looks like, what do you want to say to that? And how did you kind of rectify yourself, right? And keeping your own dreams protected, because in real life, just in general, there's always going to be a naysayer around.
Right. I would say to those kids, you're not supposed to fit in. You're supposed to be a standout.
Right.
If you're weird, you're exactly what you're supposed to be.
Absolutely.
The people who are normal are the weirdos. The ones that are weird are the Jay-Z's, the Drakes, the Beyoncés, the Eds, the Eddie Murphys, the Richard Pryors. You think Richard Pryor was regular? No. No, his mom was in a whorehouse. His grandmother was a madam. You know, you think Bernie Mac was normal? No, I ain't scared of you. Some of he wasn't normal. You're not supposed. Great people are not supposed to fit in. And if you do feel like you're an outcast or whatever, you only feel like that for a little bit. Okay,
right?
You only feel like that for a little bit. The thing is, kids only want to fit in, and I know everybody like conforms and they follow other people, but don't follow other people.
Right.
Just do you. I didn't follow people. Listen, they told me when I was younger to not do impressions. When I was doing first few years doing comedy, I had veteran comedians tell me, that's never gonna get you nowhere. You should stop doing that. Just some voices.
Right.
At the time, I'm like this. I'm like, oh man, do I need to switch it up? No, you don't need to switch anything up. You do. There was another comedian that came up to me right after one of those comedians. They said, listen, what they said was bull. You keep doing exactly what you're doing. Right. Do exactly what you're doing, and you will be great. Just do it. Ride it till the wheels. Ride it till the wheels fall off. Do whatever God has put specific talents and blessed us with those. And if we do not show those, then we're sinning. We're not supposed. You're supposed to. If you sit on your gift, you're doing an injustice to your gift,
right?
Because you're supposed to use it to bring people in some type of way. You know.
Well, I think the other part about that too is that if you're not sharing your gift, you ultimately end up losing it.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? And so I think it's interesting, so many parallels about you as the person versus this character from the film.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What kinds of things did you draw from your own life? Because when I watched the film, I just kept thinking, this is something that looks so familiar to me in terms of you as the person, even though I've never met you in person. Right. And so I just wanted to know, and I'm sure a lot of people want to know, like, what are those connections to the character, and how did you as the person and your experiences help build that character out in the film?
Well, Deandre McDonald, definitely with his financial situation, I definitely connected there through the time that I was working at Burlington Coat Factory, you know? So when you see me working at that supermarket and all that, like $23 in the account, like I can level with, I've been there. I used to do layaways in the customer service department at Burlington Coat Factory. I had a car note I had to pay. I had to put gas in it. Like I'm not stacking bread for real. Right. I got my money. I got my money when I would go on the road with Charlie. And luckily the people at Burlington Coat Factory were nice enough to let me do what I did just because they saw the talent and they believed. Yeah. They really believed in me. Another parallel, his girl not believing in him. I've been there. Yeah. I told my ex back in the day, I said, this is what's going to happen. I said, I'm going to come out. I don't know what's going to go on, but I'm going to get famous. I said, hopefully I'll do some sketch. I said, I'm going to have a special coming out. I said, it's going to be banging. I said, and I feel it coming. I said, I don't know when, but I feel it coming. And she literally looked at me and she said, but what if it doesn't happen? I was like, oh man. At that moment, in the back of my mind, it was like, she's not the one bomb was in the back of my head. I didn't. Right. It was just sitting right here, and it exploded 3 years later. But at the time, I was just, it kind of made me want to just prove. I've always had this thing, and the same thing with Deandre, where I feel like I gotta prove that I'm good enough. I gotta prove that I'm great. I gotta prove all of this. And recently in my life, I've come to this to this solace of this serene feeling of I don't got to prove anything to anybody. The proof is in the pudding. Talent's gonna speak for itself. Like yo, I've had stepping stones, because you can't call them failures. I've had stepping stones. I've had times where I felt like I didn't perform at my max, at my optimum. I've had times where I felt like I was here. You know what I mean? But they're all stepping stones in your career. The same way with DeAndre. He got his stepping stone. He put out this viral video that got him into this showcase. Bam, one stepping stone. Bam. Never had really done stand-up before. Hadn't. So he had to work it out. But he figured out how to become a stand-up comedian throughout the movie. And by the end, he delivers this honest, real set where it's like he ain't even really doing voices. He's just he's talking about his life, and it's relatable and everybody can feel it. And I feel like that shift that he had in that movie, I've experienced that over my career, where in the beginning of it, it was mad impression heavy. It was, because that's what I knew. That's all I knew. Yeah. But now with everything that's just going on, even from me being, I have so many crazy stories. I've had people drop stuff in my drink. I've had all this different stuff happen. Okay. I have found the humor in it. I talk about it, in a way where it's so real. Where you're looking at me like, is he making this up? And I'm like, no, I'm not making this up. It actually happened. But being comfortable enough to just draw from your personal experiences and talk about where you come from, and being brave enough to put that on stage and not caring if people are going to judge you, and having that fearlessness that he was starting to get at the end, that he came into. I feel like I'm there now. I will tell you that I was the black kid in school that parents ain't pick them up to. I was the last black kid to get picked up at school. So I was sitting out there waiting with my two straps. You know how you are with the book bag on your back and you looking like this. Oh, that's that. Oh, that ain't daddy. That ain't my daddy right there. And then the teacher feels so bad for you because she want to leave. She don't want to stay there. She got stuff to do. She was supposed to watch Roseanne. She can't watch Roseanne because of you. She's like, I'll stay another 15 minutes. So she said, and then another 15 minutes pass by. What happens? He ain't here yet. Okay, I'll stay another 15. She hates you. She hates you. She hates you. She hates you. She hates your parents because they should done a better job in picking you up or send somebody to pick you up. But like I wouldn't have talked about that on stage. Me being fat, talking to you, saying, yo, I had buffalo hips back in the day. I had a Beyonce bottom half back in the day. I wasn't comfortable enough to talk about that when I was like 19, 18. No, I was. You know what I'm saying? No. That's what I had. And listen, you look at my behind back in the day, you would have got drunk in love. I cleft the Lord. That would have happened to you.
Jay, I want to talk to you a little bit, if I can get the giggles out for just a second here. We've got more than a few questions, and this is why I'm like, oh, the next time you come back, we'll have to do this because there's so much stuff to talk about. But we have a lot of questions, and so I'm just going to start to throw some out to you. So this question here is from Farah Nesbitt. What's your favorite part of being a professional comedian? And did you miss anything about your amateur days from when you first started?
My favorite thing about being a stand-up comedian is being able to have the ability to take people's minds off of their problems for however long I'm on stage. I'm up there for an hour, and I usually do an hour and a half, which is really two specials. It's 45 minutes. A special is 45 minutes a piece. That's two specials. I have over 2 hours of material anyway. We're not going to talk about that. But another thing I miss, one thing I miss about the come up of being a comedian is just that, I guess, the puppy eyes that you have. Yeah. The innocence. you don't know what's going to work, not knowing what's going to work. And as comedians, sometimes we don't know what's going to work until we get on stage, but really not having the wherewithal of is this is going to work or if this is going to bomb.
Right.
But having the fearlessness enough to go up there and say it and try it to see if it works, you know, and the advice that you get on the come up from the older comedians who have been in the game, like a comedian told me back 2005 when I was at Thoroughgood Comedy Club. Shout out to them. They're closed now. That's in Virginia. 17 years old. He told me, never be afraid to fail.
Right.
He said, because he said, because you're not gonna, you don't succeed until you fail first. So if you going up there and you try it, you never know. And that's the same bit of information I give to anybody, my peers that are coming up, anybody in my class that asks me questions. See, I don't say I know how to say, you know. Anyone that asks me questions, I tell them that don't be afraid to get up there and fail, man. Like, yo, because you can come up with some gold if you just go up there and just brave it out, and you might find a punch or something that works. That you didn't know, or you might say the joke a different way. It just, you know, just try whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you touched on it. The business of taking leaps of faith is something that I, you know, really kind of lean in on in my own life. Yeah. But I like this business of just give it a shot. You know, all the what ifs in the world are not going to change, but if you can get past the what if stage of if you should do something, it could change your entire life. Let me take a look at this next question here. What would you say is a good first step to start changing the narrative around Black people that come, you know, within mass media and movies as well?
That's a very interesting question. What do I think needs to be done to change that? I mean, you know, it just, I guess not being so, you can't even say that because the stereotypes have been perpetuated for so many years.
Right.
I guess we as Black people, if we see something that's going to make us in this, you know, seem like we're coonish or whatever, right. What we need to do is we need to step up and we need to say, nah, we don't need to do that. Like that. This can be classier than that, you know. Absolutely. Like, and I'll go back to the movie and give an example. Look at the relationship that me and Keke Palmer have.
Yeah.
You know, we're together. We got a kid. She's working. I'm trying to work. We're making things work. It's not back and forth arguing, throwing stuff at each other with a whole bunch of explicatives and wrong words. There's none of that. You know, you feel the raw emotion. Like those, we need to start picking. We can start picking, as far as actors go, picking projects that glorify us rather than tear us down. We can do that.
First of all, I love that answer because it makes a lot of sense to me. But we also recognize that, you know, folks are just now kind of having this awakening around that there are so many different kinds of Black people, Black stories, Black experiences.
For instance, like, yo, people probably thought before everything, before they knew what I said, when I said about the story, they were probably thinking, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Pharoah, he probably from the hood, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm not. I've been in the hood, took a picture, walked out of it, you know, but no. My cousins, of course I've hung out in there. I got friends. I've hung out there. But you can be in it and not be of it. Right. And that's what people need to realize. You can be every Black person is not the same. We're not. There's so many different types. You got the upper middle class Black people. You got lower middle class. You got lower class. You got high class. You got all of us. And it's like that in every category because there's always somebody who is trying to change the narrative. It's like, no, I don't I don't want to be that stereotypical thing that they think I'm gonna turn into. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna elevate myself above that, and hopefully this can inspire other people like me to do the same thing.
Spot on with that. I think a lot about, going back to the whole conversation about dreams, right? Every time, even for myself, when I talk to kids, I think to myself, if they see me, then it'll be real to them, right? That someone, walked into the room talking like this, but had a certain kind of background growing up. So I'm definitely a big believer in like moving forward, protecting your dreams, putting your story out there. And we're going to take another question here from Shantae D.
Sure.
Who is your favorite person to impersonate?
You want to honestly know this is going to kill. And I always, when I go on different shows, I always say something different just because honestly, the real answer is I don't have a favorite. There's not one I'm like, oh, I gotta do, because I don't do that. Like when I go on shows and I'm doing interviews and they're asking, about this impression, I don't sit there and tell these people, yo, hey, this is my favorite one. Oh, I gotta do it. I literally go up there blind, and whatever they interpret for being the best or whatever, I just do it. But me, I'm just having fun. Like I don't care. I can tell you right now that Tekashi was my favorite impression just to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I just use the opportunities that I have to just kind of push and kind of show people range little by little. Because Will Smith said it. He said, you're not gonna make a wall in one day. What you're gonna do is you're gonna keep laying bricks, and eventually all of those bricks laid will be a wall, and people can see it. It's a whole portfolio of artwork, So when they see, they're like, oh no, his favorite's gotta be Denzel Washington. I'm like, no, it's really not. I don't care. I just like doing it. It's gotta be Jay-Z. No, it's not Jay-Z player. No, it's not Chris Rock. It's not Kevin Hart. It's not any of the 200 impressions I do. I have love for entertaining people and making people smile and laugh. And that's what it is.
Well, we appreciate it, Jay. And since it's 200, I'm just like, okay, excuse me. I can barely do one, but
like I barely do myself. No.
Exactly. But I've got my nieces and people like that who do like to impersonate me, so it's actually quite interesting. If I throw out a question to you, just something simple, and I asked you to answer as Shaquille O'Neal. Let me ask you this, Shaquille. What's your favorite thing to eat for breakfast?
Well, my favorite thing to eat for breakfast would probably have to be Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Why? Because it's sugar, and sugar gets you high, and I like being high because I'm really high off the ground, so I like doing that. So I'll say Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Also, a potato, because I love potatoes. Potatoes are amazing. I hate potatoes as well. Any type of potatoes. I love potatoes. Sauteed potatoes, potato chips, potato straws. I just love potatoes. Waffle fries. I love waffle fries.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for that. We needed that. Shifting to another question here. Terrence Brooks. How should Late Show host comedy peers balance prior transgressions that may have been interpreted as a form of racism for getting a laugh?
Well, if they feel like they've offended somebody, they should apologize for it. And when you know better, you do better. Just not make the same jokes again. You know, I can't judge you for your past. I'm not a person who can judge people for their past. Okay, if you had a past. You had a past. Are you still that person? Because we change all the time. People are constantly evolving. We like Pokemon. We are constantly evolving. Well, they only got 3 stages, but you get what I'm saying.
Right, I do.
If you used to smoke crack and now you're a pastor, I'm not gonna go up to you in your church and be like, remember that time you was hitting that pipe? Yeah, man, that was crazy. Woo! You remember that? No, I'm not gonna do that. You can't judge somebody for that. That's a pastor now. That's a better person now. So I would say for all of the past that they did, you know, all the things that they feel like they said racist, whatever. I feel like apologize for it and don't do it again. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. You know, especially in comedy, man. Comedy is comedy. And the fact that we're so politically correct now, when you can't say much of anything without offending anybody, and not getting in trouble unless you're Dave Chappelle and you just don't give a damn and you don't need anything. I say what I want, son. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'll offend people if I want to. I'm Dave Chappelle, bitch. So he can do it because he can walk that tripping line. I feel like now with the situation that's happened with me, I could probably talk about it too. I dare you to say something. I dare you. I dare you. I dare you after I could have lost my life. I dare you say something. I dare you. So it's that, you know, just when you know better, do better, man. I can't better. When you know better, now do better. There you go.
That's it.
You know?
So we're going to shift a little bit. I've been jumping around on the questions just to kind of keep on the flow. But if you got to play someone in a biography film, who would you love to play? This question is coming from Rashida Downs.
You know, there's quite a few people I would like to play. You know, if Eddie Murphy ever does a biopic, if I don't play him, then the world is not right. Something's wrong with the world. Also, Richard Pryor, I could see that as well. I could, you know, because I'm in talks for that. Pam Grier's got a biopic, you know, and I would be playing Pryor in that movie if I get a chance to. Robin Harris, I would say. Yes. I'm really interested in playing Robin Harris.
Yes.
Because I feel like he's a legend that came before Bernie. Similar style, but Bernie kind of got his stuff from Robin, you know. And I love Bernie Mac is in my top 5, and so is Robin. But he deserves so much more of a light that he got, and it was so sad because he was at a point in his career where he was about to explode. You know, Look, I'll be honest with you from my perspective. I feel like I'm good. Like, oh, that's Jay Pharoah, but that real pop moment that's going to take me into the stratosphere. Yeah, I feel like that's still to come. You know what I mean? Now, I do feel like now people are starting to pay attention to me more and my brand more and my comedy more, and I've been getting a lot of shout outs, but I feel like there's still a level. There's still ceilings. There's ceilings to break through here. You know,
Absolutely.
There's different levels to go to. And Robin had that. He was about to explode, and he was so funny. So many comedians copied him, and he was so raw. Yeah. So I kind of want to be able to go through a transformation because I can't play him like this. I can't. Right. I could have played him. I could have played him probably like, 13, 14. When I had the Beyonce hips, I could have played him because you see Robin Harris, right? He got the booty. Like there's a lot of men with butts in Hollywood. You see him. You got your John Legends. You got your Questloves. You got your Trevor Noahs. You got me. I got a little caboose back here. I got something nice. But he had the super hips, and I would have to gain weight to play that character. So I feel like modeling in the same footsteps of Jim Carrey and Eddie Murphy. I want to be able to go through a transformation and do that role. I can play Eddie, right? If they did Eddie right tomorrow, now, I could play Eddie.
Right now.
I can play. Yes.
Jay, first of all, second of all, thank you so much because I said it the first time when we first opened. So we're going into the second thought. So appreciative of you joining us today. I wanted to close with Charlie Scott III's statement here about he wants to thank you for being your authentic self and speaking within the voice of your truth. And he ends with, we appreciate you. And I want to echo that sentiment as well. That first of all, that you even took the time out of your day. I know your schedule is probably crazy. So we absolutely appreciate that. But we want to, in this last 2 minutes, actually, we'll say last minute in 30 seconds, what do you want people to know about upcoming projects and how you're going to be moving in consideration of our current state of affairs?
Well, in our current state of affairs, I'm gonna answer that one first because I feel like that's really important.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely going to still be telling my story and still advocating for Black Lives Matter and injustice in general. You know, I'm taking a criminal justice class.
Yes.
I'm learning. I want to know, even if law, like I want to know law, and I want to be able to take that and teach the younger generation the law, what they need to know if they're confronted with a situation like this, so they can be as safe as possible. They can get out of it, and the police officers won't be talking to ignorant Black people, because we will know what's happening. So there's nothing that you can pull. There's nothing you'll be able to pull on us. And then from there, we'll just take it. We'll take it to litigations. You know what I mean? And we'll just know. And I want to do that. Workshops for our young Black sisters and brothers out there, and for people who are older and don't know that. I think it's important to be that mouthpiece. So if I could bring that, I want to work on bringing that and helping. And if I do it with a couple of people, it's fine. You know, because it's not about me. It's about the message. It's about getting it across and painting the picture as lucid as possible to everybody who watches. And as far as my projects, I have so many coming up besides 2 Minutes of Fame, which is excellent, guys. We put a lot of work into this movie. It's a heartfelt film. It's heartfelt, inspirational, and it's just a good story. So check out 2 Minutes of Fame. I have another movie called All My Life that I shot with Harry Shum Jr., Jessica Roth. That's coming out. That should be out the end of the summer. Let's see what happens with this COVID situation. I got another movie I did with Justin Simeon, Lena, who's directed it, wrote it. Lena Waithe is in there. Vanessa Williams, Blair Underwood, Robin Thede's in it. Also, Elle, she's coming up. She's in it. Kelly Rowland's in it. There's so many different people in this movie. Check that one out. It's going to be out around October for Halloween. And that's going to be a Hulu. And I got another movie that they're dropping. That's coming out. It's called How to Fake a War. They're putting that up on streaming platforms now. I shot that one a couple of years ago. And another movie. Good God.
Jay, thank you. You've got stuff. It is on time for you. It is on time. Yeah. Stick around with me. I'm going to close things out. Thank you again, everyone, for just showing up, sharing space, having this moment to take your mind away from things. And we so appreciate you. Have a really wonderful evening.
Thank you so much.